salvage yard was worthwhile. I may have done some things that definitely lead me to believe that it does run. Specifically, the owner of the salvage yard, who I trust with such information, told me that it ran in the RV that this was a part of, like a big pace arrow. It's a generator, it's a Kohler. It looks like it might be 70s, even 60s maybe. I mean, there's a plastic cover, so it's probably 70s or later. Although it is only basically the one plastic part is the cover. You can't see it because I've got you panned way over there. But, you know, why don't I just real quick show you around this thing. But since I don't want to move the tripod, I'll just take out my phone and film that part. Ooh. Ah, video. Okay. Yeah. Boop. There we go. Yep. Alright. Some kind of a Kohler generator from the 70s. A couple of things we've done is the carburetor that was on it, like this part of the mounting flange here, was broken off. I put this resistor cap on there, which might be a Briggs & Stratton part, but don't worry, it works, it fits. You know, this muffler here that I added, it's a standard 1-inch, you know, hot or hamburger muffler, 1-inch pipe thread. I tacked it and welded it into the. I had to do nonsense because this union wouldn't come apart. I'll probably end up grinding it off of here later so that I can take this street elbow and move it up to here so it isn't, you know, there is a gap there, but yeah. And then I've got my standard jerry can with some hose in there. It's strapped down so that it would go down the highway on my homemade trailer that I could maybe do a video about sometime, because it's independent suspension. It might be the front half of a 2-wheel drive 97 F-150. Or actually, it might exactly be that, you know, plus some 1.25-inch pipe and overbuilt safety chains. Inside of here, we've got the mess that controls generator things and the starter solenoid, which the swear was cut off, so I had to add that. And then there was no ground cable on it when I got it, so I added that. The muffler I did again, changed the carburetor. I put a new diaphragm in the fuel pump, which oddly the spacing in the diaphragm itself was slightly bigger than where it actually mounts inside of there, so that was weird. But yeah, rebuilt the fuel pump. I cleaned out the sediment bowl, and it's full of some Stable Start engine product, which is like carb cleaner that goes in your gas tank. It's really effective stuff, kind of smells good, don't drink it. We've got ourselves a new Energizer battery. Energizer, this is an interstate battery. Energizer is for your flashlights and stuff. And again, like the one plastic part on it is this cover. See how it's plastic? And of course the whole thing is in Kohler gold. Controller part number. Alright, so the generator model number is a 4C M21, and then the engine is a K series K321, which I had. Well, I have no parts for it. Also, the spark plug number is an HC10 or an RHC10 if you can find one. You have to special order the resistor plugs, which is why I put the resistor boot on there, because I don't like the extra interference. Hey, look, US of A. All right, so that's the overlook of this whole thing. Now, what I've done besides this is I have hooked up this battery and pushed this button in the start position to turn it on. It's kind of nice as a dual action switch, so well, the front of it is this side, but so from the back on your right is, well, here, I'll just show you the label. See where it says start and stop? And then this cover covers it like that. Well, actually it slides into there, and there's 2 screws that I have in place. There's a whole thing. That's probably a ground point. Well, no, they've all got the star washers. All right, so start towards the solenoid, stop is away from the solenoid, and that's what this dual action cherry switch here does. Anyways, it's pretty well made. It looks some kind of a ballast resistor maybe, and like points breaker stuff down there, and our condenser, yeah. And then I guess there isn't a coil on this one, I think. Maybe. more American stuff. Alright, well, we'll take and switch you back to the main camera and then try to start this thing. Also, the air cleaner got smashed, which is part of when the carburetor got crunched. So, you know, had to wait a week for one of those. And then there's this plug here that feeds into the RV for some reason. Probably some kind of an electric demand circuit that I'll never figure out later, and hopefully can just bypass all this stuff to make power come into this box. I'll probably end up shortening this convoluted galvanized conduit here. Alright. Hey look, there's actually lights on this trailer that I handmade in like a week. That's just how long it took me to do stuff on it, don't worry about it. I may have lowered this thing by cutting the leaf springs. Alright, back to the main camera. Oh, right, main camera's still recording, so we'll switch your view. Get you as close as we can. Yeah, zoom you right into there. Oh yeah! This stuff, highly recommend it. If you didn't put stable in your gas before you stored your stuff, drain out whatever's left in the gas tank, squirt this all up inside of everything. All up inside of everything. It works like canned cheese, so you just move the nozzle over. Like that. Alright. It also works as starting fluid if you want to test if something works and then also be cleaning its carburetor at the same time. Alright, the one that's bare is clearly ground, right? And the other one that runs directly to the solenoid is power. This one is like upside down specific. It is super tight on here for some reason. I should probably start taking those down, but I won't. My automatic choke seems to be working. That's good. Or is that just vacuum, I wonder? Yeah, this stuff might be more potent to starting fluid. Shouldn't fall over. Put behind flannel stuff in the battery. That makes sense. Come on now, you're on camera. It's not drawing fuel. We can tell you that much right now. She's not drawing fuel out of the can. I don't get it. I don't know why it's not drawing fuel out of the can, but it ain't. possible. This hose isn't all the way down into the gas. Let's try that real quick. See if we can't get something out of that. Because of the Kohler anti-dieseling valve, anti-dieseling solenoid right there. Just a touch warm. We shouldn't leave it run with that setup, but yes. Oh, wait. Important part. Did it charge the battery? This thing was at 12.75 volts before. 13.63. It charged the battery too. Beautiful. She works. It produces voltages AC in this circuit breaker here, which I had both of the breakers off because of these cut-off wires here, which are pretty sketchy, scary. Also, this box is probably grounded through the steel conduit, which is even more sketchy. But it's making AC power and DC power. That's 100% win. It works. Point is it's drawing fuel via the fuel pump. This fuel solenoid works. The carburetor works. The automatic choke, I think, works. This thing's kind of funky, and there's some frayed wires that look pretty corroded, and it's all loosey-goosey and such. But it seems to be working. Starter solenoids work. The muffler, it's there. I don't know if the muffler's doing us any good, but it's there. It was quieter than it was before, just running it on ether before. Yeah, I'd already run it with ether. I'd already done a compression test at like 130 psi, so the valves aren't sticking. It's probably still got cross hatches. I checked it for spark, and it zapped me, so I knew that worked. Yeah. She's a good investment, and it makes 33 amps, which is like enough to run your refrigerator and TV in the event of a blackout. With nothing else plugged in, it'll probably run a stove, I think. It might not get as hot as it could, but it'll run a stove at low heats anyways, at low temperatures. It was a good buy. It's got high compression. There's oil in it. It doesn't seem to have any major oil leaks. Rebuild kits for these things are everywhere still. They're dead simple. Just it's any other flathead single-cylinder engine. like a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower engine, but bigger. This is a 14 horse apparently. I had plans to rebuild a K301, which is the 12 horse variation in this K series, which is exactly the same thing. This being the generator application has a little different engine base, from what I can tell. It doesn't even have the hole drilled on the other side, and it mounts, the base on the engine mounts forward like that, instead of down with the standard 4 holes like this. It's 2 mounts forward, and then the generator's at the back, and there's mounting points on that. Yeah, it works. It runs. It draws fuel through the fuel pump that I rebuilt, even though the diaphragm I had to slightly tweak using a hole punch that isn't sharp because it's a cheap hole punch. I should have used the rotating Craftsman one instead of the one you slam with a hammer. But it works. My Amazon carburetor works. And gasket. It's all good. It makes spark, it draws fuel, it ignites the fuel, it exhausts the fuel. The starter spins really well, it's got high compression. I did good on this buy. I did good on this project. It works, and now I need to build a trailer for it and a steel cover to go over the plastic cover here. Just basically the same thing, but maintain this window here. And maybe add a couple mounting spots, and then add some outlets to the circuit breaker, and find a good way to mount these on its little sled here. I might have to replace this with weather grade conduit and run a ground wire inside of that box, which is nothing. There's a ground strap point, or ground wire point here. That's never been used. I have a feeling that in the RV, it grounded both through the breaker box here and through the sled, the carrier that it's on, which it has, both donuts sitting in springs, so it really doesn't vibrate the whole thing when you run it. Oh boy, oh boy. Next, I get to rebuild that 1964 Briggs & Stratton Ireland. Yeah, Ireland generator that's out at my brother's new property. That'll be fun. It spins over easy. I think that one might have a broken connecting rod, which is spooky, but I do have new parts for it. I happen to have that 9 horsepower Briggs & Stratton in the barn that I need to put rings in and reassemble. That'll be a good one too. That'll run. I know it'll run. I'll just slam some lag bolts into this trailer once I get this thing onto its own trailer, which I have parts for. Yeah. I need to order springs. I could probably just assemble springs and do some shenanigans with that. So I have spare springs over the Studebaker, where that came with this dude. Yeah. But I still need high bolt springs. Oh. I'll probably have to order high bolt springs for it. And then use the Explorer springs that came with the rear axle in the Studebaker. That's what it'll have to be, right? That's hot. There's this thing on the back that's definitely like some kind of temperature deal. It maybe is a heat sink for the whole system. I don't know. I don't know everything about generators that go in RVs, but I know that this one is mine and that it works. It's making voltage without any input from the trailer whatsoever, even though I unplugged this loom here. Seems to have no consequence on this thing at all. Perfect. Excuse you. Thank you much. And I'll be changing this to a red one, and this is going in my green truck for the remote battery. And this is the remote battery for that system. This thing will need... I'll probably get a motorcycle battery for this thing. Yeah. And I'll put a cap on this gas can so the fumes don't leak out and make me see purple dancing trees or something. I don't know why I'm watching you, or making you guys watch cleanup, but I am. Excuse that small interruption if you even caught on to what was going on, or if I didn't edit it out. But, it runs good, it draws fuel, it does all the things. I'm going to slap the air cleaner back on it and which I'll have to rip the gasket out of that box that I taped shut. But don't worry about that. We'll put it back to put the air cleaner on, take my battery off, and wheel this thing out sometime. Until next time, if you could, rate the video, drop a comment if you have anything to say that's not negative or that involves quarantine things, if I get around to uploading it before that's even over. And if you would subscribe, there will be more videos of small engines and trucks, and we've got some 60s cars, sports cars, V8 automatic, go-fast cars. That'll be coming in the next couple of years, so stick around for that if you would.